AI is a powerful tool that, if you use properly, can help you accomplish work faster and more effectively than you could without. However, it also is powerful enough to prevent you from having to do any work in the first place. And that since it's released to the public en masse, there are plenty of things infecting the world now that are just AI slop and unoriginal recreations of things that have been proven to look with no character or soul to them. And so that's what I'm going to sort of discuss here today in today's video. Now, if we have never met before, hi, my name is Duncan Alderdice, and in this series I make short videos in the morning as I take a walk and talk through the thoughts I'm having as I try to put my life back together again. And if I saw you yesterday, welcome back. So the thing that was going on, why is there always a person? The thing that is going on that yesterday I watched a video which was talking about this thing called outlier theory. And outlier theory is essentially a strategy you can use with YouTube where you look at another channel has a bunch of videos. You see the videos that they have and look at the specific videos that do far better than the other ones. And those ones are the ones then you study and try to recreate and replicate and just kind of do the exact same thing. Clearly it's a format that works or sort of thing, and just apply it to your specific niche or topic. Now, with that, there is a lot of that going on, and it works and it helps people. However, and this is the kind of growing frustration, it is turning people's algorithm into just all of the exact same thing. So, I don't know if you've seen right now or recently, the 7 deadly sins or the 7 reasons, some form of 7 content that you can kind of see. And it's great for the creator to kind of implement that. However, the issue is, I'm going to turn around. The issue is that, for the viewer, if you're going to be seeing it, you probably just from the packaging of the video can tell what it's going to be about. And you I can get an idea of the pacing. You can get an idea of the points that they're going to make, what the format's going to be. And it's kind of just going to be, because you already know what you're going to get. And so there is this dilemma, because it's okay, well, if you don't know what to make your videos about, the easiest way to start is to look at someone who's already successful and then just kind of do what they've done, and that's not a bad idea. The problem is, I would say, is that because there's tools available at our disposal, is that that strategy is no longer just taking inspiration in as much as it is quite literally as directed by a lot of the emerging YouTube gurus of let me show you how I made $30,000 in a month with a faceless AI YouTube channel. And not reveal which the channel is, because it's just quite literally in their instructions are, you're going to go to this channel that you call your inspiration channel, and then you're going to basically kind of steal this video, copy this YouTube video URL into the thumbnail generator, tell it what to do differently, script generator, tell it what to do differently. And so it's going from one standpoint of if you've never done it before, listen to the person who's doing well, and then now, if you've never done it before, just do exactly what the other person has done well, riding the coattails of their originality and success, never developing the skill for yourself in the first place, but also undermining the whole point of the creative process. And you want to, and so I guess this is more of a philosophical claim or argument or perspective. Doesn't really matter. But one thing I've noticed is that there seems to be, and growing now that YouTube is becoming more popular and AI has these tools that are coming into place, is there's 2 sort of teams. Now, the two different ways. It at one point was purely an art form. You create something that really speaks to you And if it speaks to another person, then they will like it as well. And you like to watch it, share with their friends, all that cool fun stuff. And that comes to the content, the thumbnail, the title, description, all that cool fun stuff. And now, here's a B-52 Bomber. I don't know if you can see it. It's awesome. Guy really turned his engine on. I have to sneeze. No, I don't. Just decide not to sneeze. No. Okay. I don't think that I've ever been able to do that before. Okay. No. That there is the art side where you're creating to be original, where you are sourced and you're taking inspiration from what, like, you make the things that you want to see, and then you do that, and that's rewarded. And then now there's more of a scientific component, which is like, if you look at the creators who created and then look at the content that really outperformed the rest, you then can break down and abstract out the substance of it, keeping only the 4-minute skeleton and going like, okay, well, their hook followed this particular structure and the video followed this particular structure, and then breaking down those things from there. And then you have that, and then the conclusion is, this are the elements of what makes a successful video. Now, I think the tough part is, now there are tools available where you can just take that rough skeleton of an idea, fill things in, and it have success because it follows basic principles of successful ways of organizing thoughts and capturing human attention. However, what it's missing is the soul of what it is. There is no person in that. And because there's a financial component with this sort of thing, that there is a temptation and a solid temptation for people to just pursue the quote unquote scientific pathway. And it's tough because it's like, well, I don't want to tell someone they can't go and get their bag, but, well, I generally just don't want to tell anyone how to live their life. I'll vote with my own actions rather than words against someone else's. But so the question that I think to myself is, where do I want to land on this? And because my heart goes like, no, you should be the pure artist. Like, you just create. There's no money. You don't even think about all of the stuff. Like, just make whatever you think feels best for you. And I go, yes, I like that. However, it feels like it's just as extreme and proving a point as the full science mode, just a different flavor of it. Like, surely the difference, the right way is the middle way. It's a healthy mixture of the artistic and scientific components of this. That it is dancing that line between order and chaos. So like the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? Like it's and so it's okay, how do you ensure that the question then becomes, how do you ensure that you are creating what is true to you, willing to take risks, not just creating a channel that takes the form of success and interesting content, but lacks the substance thereof, while at the same time incorporating enough of the scientific components that you actually package it, say, in a way that then gets it in front of the eyeballs of the people who would legitimately enjoy it. Like, in that same way, because right now I've got a bunch of AI tools working for me. So like, after I record a video, then I go home and I upload that to Premiere and edit it. And editing is pretty straightforward. Like, I add a couple things to it. Export that audio file first, and then the video uploads to YouTube. The audio file I then put into, well, it's what we call a publishing package machine, which I got Claude Code to create. Which, okay, what does it do? It takes the audio, generates an SRT transcript file. I know the car's behind me, and I'm just gonna stop right now. So the car's turning around, so I don't really understand what just happened. But so it's generating a transcript. Transcript also then preserves my voice in it. So there's two documents. Then from that transcript, it sends to an API connection that creates a publishing package, which essentially gives the YouTube description, suggested titles, and a bunch of other sort of things, summaries. That's a bunch of information it gives. I then take the voice archive transcript, which like preserves my voice, upload that to a Claude project, which I've uploaded every day so far that I've edited, and then ask it questions. What are your thoughts? What would you title it? And then what thumbnail would you put in the text? And largely I use the Claude titles because the ones that are truly what I go like, what's really me is a direct quote from the video. Maybe the conclusion I came to or something good there. And that's ideal if that's what it could be. However, if you've watched more than one of my videos, you might notice that sometimes the thoughts I have aren't particularly clear or easily understood or too long, that it takes focus and a bit of effort to follow along. Worth it. But in the game of grabbing someone's attention and giving them a reason to click in under a second and a half or under a half second, that's not the right optimal strategy. And so that's what, like I have instructions on Claude on how to kind of provide a title that's based on the transcript. And so that's a thing I was thinking through yesterday, and I guess out loud right here is, if I didn't have those tools, I would be having to learn that skill myself and getting those iterations myself. And so that short term might not have as much success. Long term would have more success because I actually learned the skill and developed that creative intuition. On the other hand, in the absence of those tools, would I actually do all of those things? And that's the question I don't think I actually would. Because I didn't, because I have done this before. And I did watch them and take a direct quote. I didn't translate that into what would be a better packaging hook. And that's not because, I think that's because, well, I'm not doing this full time yet. I don't know if I'll ever do it full time. But that's not the question to answer right now. And so, because I was just pulling a quote and the titles weren't as great. They didn't have that same hook appeal. And so as a consequence of having these tools, I unlock that time. But what I need to preserve is that the source of the content and then foundation for the ideas of the titles are fundamentally based off of the things I say in the video, the ideas I come up with, and perhaps take inspiration from other places, but that I need to ensure that I remain source for this material, and that the science component is put into, like, it reserves its role and spot for, I would say, the packaging and the discoverability component. But that it's what I'm afraid of or just concerned by, just for my own things, is that someone who in a decade, when someone comes across my 3,650th video, they're like, holy shit, this guy's been doing this for a while. And when they look through the videos that I've uploaded, what they don't read are my voice in the titles, but it's like, this is just generic shit. And I don't know, but I think so long as I am the source material for this, and that's what the package, the science is being applied to, then that problem will be avoided. Because it's like saying, like, everyone writes sentences following this, using the same words and grammatic rules. Yet there's an abundance and millions of different sentences and ways that people can speak. Like, yes, there are components of a title or components of a thumbnail that are consistent across all. Like for the thumbnail, going like, you want to have like the rule of thirds or 50-50 split. There's like a before versus after or whatever. Or the title, you want it to be the first 50 to 60 characters is some sort of impact, demonstrating the stakes rather than describing, and the text in the thumbnail is going to be introducing a new open loop rather than the title. So like those are the core components of it that has to remain. there's a million different sort of variations of that. And then it's also going, you know what, sometimes maybe it would be worth doing the just direct copy of what someone else has done for the standpoint of, like, it's worked. If you're trying to get discovered, maybe that's something you got to play the game, but ensure that those are the minority of the content you create, not the majority. Like, those are the publicity stunts, so to speak. If your channel is entirely just publicity stunts, it loses the character of this. And also it's what am I optimizing for? If I have I need to package something like what I'm doing in a way that helps someone else come across it. But if that discovery is fundamentally different than the type of content that the core of the channel is about, then those are the wrong viewers, and it's a different game. So going on along, these are the sort of things that I'm thinking through on this. I think for myself, I believe also long-term, as a consequence of the AI enabling people to make shit just generically at scale, will accelerate the hunger and thirst that people have for genuine, authentic content. And the game there will be a tide that switches. There's always going to be those generic things that are going to have some sort of success, without doubt. Human psychology has not changed. Like, that's pretty straightforward. But there will be people who get fucking tired of it. And so the strength is not in, the strength will be in standing out in a way that you can sustainably do. And you do that by staying true to you, Dr. Seuss. But also packaging it in a way so that it still is, it's possible. So those are the things I'm thinking through on that. And I will acknowledge you watching to the end and appreciate it. And if you're on your own journey, I know you know this already, but I'll say it again, is that desire is what drives you forward. The pain you're going through is necessary. That is why you need to believe in yourself, because you're more capable of doing great things than you give yourself credit. Lean in, aim up, and move forward. Yes, you can. Yes, you will.